So coming up, our main event, Carl Froch has fought only once in America and only once on U.S. television last year on ShoBox. The undefeated Froch is a bone-chilling puncher, folks, with a rock-solid chin and a steely determination. In England, they would refer to him as a hard man. There have been a handful of outstanding super middleweights from the UK, including Nigel Benn, Chris Eubank, and most recently, Joe Calzaghe. Those champions all fought here in the States. And our Al Bernstein asked Froch why he decided to take on the toughest opponent of his career here in the U.S.
Carl, it's a mixed bag for fighters that go to foreign soil to fight, whether it's a British fighter coming here or an American going to Britain. What motivated you to want to have this fight here?
These sort of fights, winning them in style against a marquee name like Jermaine Taylor, is how I'm going to establish myself. I want to become a superstar in America to show people what I'm about, what the Cobra can do.
Carl,
Bring on the big guns. I'm ready for them.
Even just listening to you here now, you know, you're very confident. And is there anything underneath that confidence that maybe you haven't yet gotten all of your just due? Is part of that just because you're new to the title?
I've just beat Pascal in a great fight over 12 rounds, which is being dubbed as Fight of the Year. I'm WBC World Champion at super middleweight. I want to get straight into these big fights. I'm 31 years old. I've not got 5-6 years of sitting around doing nothing, wasting time, defending against people that nobody's heard of, when I can catapult myself to superstardom.
I think most people applaud the fact that you're getting into the ring with a quality fighter who's jumping up into the weight class. Why do you see Jermaine Taylor as a fighter?
Early on, he's quite ferocious. He lets his shots go, and he obviously he means business when he's in there. Hence his ring name, Bad Intentions. But I don't see anything there that I'm worried about that's going to affect me. I'm a big, strong super middleweight. Let's not forget, I'm world champion. I'm undefeated. There's a lot mentally going off with me that's going to not allow me to be defeated by someone like Jermaine Taylor. This is how I'm going to establish myself. So Jermaine Taylor hasn't got what it takes to beat me. He really hasn't. And I'll prove that on Saturday night, and you'll all see why. And you'll all be applauding my great success.
It's Carl Froch versus Jermaine Taylor coming up next. And last night, our Steve Farhood was ringside for a special ShoBox championship fight. Here's his report on the action from St. Louis.
Coming off consecutive losses, Corey Spinks was fighting to regain the IBF junior middleweight title. His opponent, fellow St. Louis native DeAndre Lattimore, a big puncher who was just as raw as Spinks was experienced. If Lattimore needed to prove he belonged, he did so immediately, scoring a knockdown late in round 1. Lattimore kept the pressure on, and after 4 rounds, he had the lead, and Spinks had a nasty cut over his left eye. Fighting flat-footed, Spinks rallied in the middle rounds, and in the 9th, it was Lattimore who was bleeding. Like so many Corey Spinks fights, this was a close one, ultimately decided by the judges. The fighters emptied their tanks in a spirited 12th round, and Spinks did enough to regain the title by split decision. The difference? A single point on one of the cards.
All right, thanks to Steve Farhood for that ShoBox report. He'll be ringside with Nick Charles on Friday, May 1st, as unbeaten Carlos Abregu fights Irving Garcia in a 10-round welterweight bout, and Marvin Quintero takes on Wes Ferguson in a lightweight fight. On back-to-back nights in the middle of May, we'll showcase up-and-coming fighters in the ring and inside the cage. Friday, May 15th, it's the debut of our mixed martial arts series, Show MMA Strikeforce Challengers. Then Saturday, May 16th on ShoBox, unbeaten super middleweight Andre Ward faces his most dangerous opponent yet, veteran slugger Edison Miranda. Saturday, June 6th, Strikeforce features MMA stars ruthless Robbie Lawler taking on Jake Shields. Also fighting that night, Phil Baroni against Joe Riggs, and light heavyweight sensation Rafael Feijão in a special attraction. More action in the cage on Friday, June 19th with another edition of Show MMA Strikeforce Challengers. And Saturday, July 11th on Showtime, Championship Boxing, undisputed 115-pound champion Vic Darchinyan moves up to 118 pounds to challenge IBF bantamweight title holder Joseph King Kong Agbeko. And coming up on Show 2.
You've watched Showtime Sports make history. The best in boxing, MMA's elite fighters, and now the award-winning NFL series. Catch the best in Showtime Sports presents every night Monday through Friday only on Show 2.
Jermaine Taylor has been involved in some of the highest profile matchups of recent years. Middleweight title fights against familiar names like Bernard Hopkins, Kelly Pavlik, Winky Wright, and Corey Spinks. But that was yesterday. It's all about being a champion, Taylor says. Until you get the belts back, all the other fights mean nothing. Al found out why tonight's fight means everything to the former world champion.
After your 2 wins against Bernard Hopkins, there were very high expectations put on you. Did you at that time feel expectations of you were maybe extra lofty?
I don't know. You know, those Hopkins fights, it was a goal. I had reached everything that I wanted to accomplish in boxing. And here it is. I got all this money, and I'm relaxed now. You know, I'm not making no excuse because that's my own mentality. But I feel like that's what happened.
After the Pavlik fights, was there anything that you personally learned about either yourself or being a boxer from those 2 losses?
I just think, you know, it's boxing. You know, in boxing, either you're up or you're down. You know, either you're number 1 or you're nothing. I miss being number 1. And I didn't think I'd get that back, but I do. You know, I miss having those belts. And, you know, being looked at as champ, you know, when a person called me champ, you know, I know I really am, you know, number 1.
So that drive and that determination is back inside Jermaine Taylor.
It's back, yes, sir. And now that I know, you know, how to keep it, how to keep that drive, and you know, just that I want to.
Your new challenge is going up in weight. It's Carl Froch. What about that challenge?
Carl Froch, you know, he's an overseas guy. Comes to fight. He's never lost, so he don't know how to lose. I'm just gonna take the fight to him. I'm gonna teach him how to lose.
It's an interesting point. You've been through that experience. He has not. How does that play into things?
It plays a lot, you know, because you know, he's never lost. I've been there before. You know, I've been the challenger. You know, I've been this spot. I've been on top. I've been champion. I pretty much know what he's over there going through. You know, now all I got to accomplish is the comeback. You know, I've done everything else in boxing except for the comeback. You know, and after that, maybe, you know, I can sit down somewhere and have a good time. You'll see, Al. You'll see.
So, coming up next, it's our main event. The WBC Super Middleweight Championship as England's Carl Froch defends his crown against former world champion America's Jermaine Taylor. And once again, we'd like to invite you to take part in our text message poll tonight. Carl Froch is undefeated and has never been knocked down. Give us your prediction for tonight. If you think Froch will get knocked down and win, text box 1. Get knocked down and lose, text box 2. Lose without getting knocked down, text box 3. Win without getting knocked down, text box 4. Text your response to Show TV. That's 74688. Standard text messaging rates apply. Gus Johnson here, ringside with Al Bernstein. And Al, in terms of Froch Taylor, this isn't your a stereotypical Englishman versus American style fight.
Yeah, you know, that old stereotype, Gus, which told us that the British fighters were good ring technicians, but a little stiff in the ring and very upright, and that Americans were better freelancers and probably better attackers. Well, that stereotype has certainly been eroded over recent years, and I think for this fight, the erosion will be complete, because Froch, the Brit, is the unorthodox aggressor who holds his left hand very, very low, and he's very loose in the ring. Taylor is the classic boxer who sometimes seems a bit stiff in the ring. With all that in mind, this match, more than some others, has style and technique that will mean a lot. The jab is the staple of Taylor's style. It's especially important tonight. He's admitted that he deliberately slowed the pace in previous fights because of stamina issues. That won't work again tonight against Froch. Froch can be hit with right hands, and Taylor will need to land that early and often. Instead of holding the left high, Carl Froch holds it low, as Kelly Pavlik did against Taylor. Taylor then needs to use his jab to set up a good straight right hand. This scenario could be repeated a lot tonight. Taylor hopes it is. Froch always fights with his left hand low and tries a crossover defense. I'm not sure that will work against Taylor. When he lunges into punch, he squares his body and makes himself an easy target. Froch has fight-ending power in his uppercuts, and he can deliver that punch with both hands. He has shown the ability to double up with the left uppercut. And since Kelly Pavlik used the uppercut well against Taylor on the inside, expect to see this tonight from Froch.